2024 had a lot of massive transits. We had the North Node in Aries, which meant we were all growing towards assertion and independence and healing wounds around codependency. And of course, we had Pluto retrograde and Pluto entering Aquarius, which was a massive ordeal. But now 2025 holds new challenges for us, new realms of growth that are completely different from last year. So in this video, I want to break down a simple overview of the 2025 planetary transits and what to expect in the upcoming year. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Isabel and today we are talking about the planetary overview for 2025. 2024 had quite a unique energy, just as every year does, and 2025 brings a completely new energy to the equation that moves us really from this state of getting into our inner fire and aggression and assertion and really authoritatively owning ourselves, and now learning how to emotionally soften. As far as what I'm seeing, it really seems to be the major themes. So in this video, I'm going to break down some of the major transits that I've noticed happening. So if you want to know what to expect of 2025, this video is for you. Now, before I dive in, before we get any further, be sure to book a reading in the link in the description below, where you can learn about your unique astrological birth chart, as well as personality type combination, Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, numerology. We cover it all. Learn more in the link in the description below. And of course, if you want to know how 2025 is going to specifically affect you and what transits are going to be most impactful for you, we can cover that in the reading. Book in the link in the description below. Check out the other links in the description below if you want to become your own astrologer. Check out the astrology course if you want to learn on your own. I have an astrology bundle. Just explore down below after this video. So what kind of energies were present in 2024? In 2024, we had the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. We had Jupiter in Gemini. We had Mercury go retrograde in 3 different fire signs, all 3 fire signs. We had Saturn go retrograde in Pisces. We had Mars enter retrograde Leo. And we had the eclipse season in Aries and Libra. We had eclipse season in Pisces and Libra. We had double Capricorn full moons. And of course, we had Pluto retrograde and Pluto in Aquarius. I kind of just said that last one as a general term because there were so many different entering and exitings of Capricorn and Aquarius with Pluto that it was just too much to cover. But those are kind of the general transits that we had for 2024. In the end, though, what did this energy really mean for us? We were stepping into independence and assertion. We were healing codependency wounds. Expansion came to us from being curious, learning, and networking. We were reflecting on our passions and how we express them. We were reassessing our mental blocks and energetic boundaries. We were recognizing what success and authority truly meant to us, transforming our wounds associated with individuality and innovation, and reinitiation with our passion and emotions. Now, with those being the main themes of 2024, how does 2025 differ? If you don't have a lot of time on your hands, I'm going to put a quick snapshot of all the transits I'm about to cover in this video. So we have Mars retrograde in Cancer starting in January. We have Jupiter entering Cancer. We'll have Saturn enter Aries and go retrograde, which will also include going retrograde back into Pisces. We have the North Node entering Pisces and the South Node entering Virgo. We'll have Venus retrograde in Aries and in Pisces. We'll have 2 eclipse seasons, one on a Virgo Aries axis, one on a Pisces Virgo axis. We'll have Neptune enter Aries and go retrograde, I believe also back into Pisces. We have Uranus entering Gemini, and of course we have our 3 times a year Mercury retrograde. Now, what do all those transits really mean for us? With the energies that are showing themselves to be present in 2025, here's what I think we can expect. We'll be backtracking and reinitiating with our emotions. We'll have expansion through nurturing ourselves and others. We'll be practicing personal responsibility, stepping into introspection and spirituality, healing perfectionism wounds, reassessing values of tough love versus soft love. We'll have one last initiation with independence. We'll have idealism about independence and maybe disillusionment about compassion. Unexpected change in our learning and networking, and reflecting on our passions and emotions. Now, if that is a whole mouthful, if that's a lot for you to process, now I'm going to go and break down why I say each of these things and what transits they're associated with and what each transit means. And of course, if you're interested in a specific transit, check out the timestamps. First and foremost, starting on January 6th of 2025 and being present through February 23rd of 2025, we have Mars retrograde in Cancer. We end 2024 with Mars retrograde in Leo, but Mars doesn't go retrograde in Cancer until January. What this means for us is when we have Mars retrograde, Mars is the planet of action. And so when this is retrograde, we are either redoing things or maybe backtracking on things we've already done. In a way, it's like a self-reflection, so kind of mental, but mainly we're just withdrawing our physical energy back, specifically the energy around how we act on our emotions. It is possible that when Mars was direct in Cancer, that we were maybe doing things that felt good in the moment, and now we're reflecting on, was that serving us well? It could also be that we're redoing things to bring more emotional fulfillment. We're revisiting old ways of doing things to find more emotional nurturance, whether that's nurturing others or ourselves. I think in the end, Mars retrograde in Cancer is really about redoing things or doing things in ways that we used to find that inner sense of emotional sense of home, an emotional sense of family. We're looking for a sense of emotional security in what we do, and we could be finding old ways that we used to do things, or old people or old places that bring us that sense of home. Then starting on January 11th of 2025 is one of my favorite transits to talk about because I consider this to be one of the most helpful transits for our spiritual growth. We have the North Node entering Pisces and the South Node entering Virgo. Now, yes, we have our natal North and South Node, which tells what our highest path to growth is in our lifetime and what our overused gifts and talents are. But the transiting South Node, it tells us what we need to heal now. And the North Node current transit tells us what we're needing to grow to next. It's like the next chapter in our hero's journey or the next stage of our personal development. And so with the North Node being in Pisces, we are growing towards more introspection, spirituality, empathy, compassion, and really valuing energetic vibrational connection. We had a lot of transits happening with Pisces, with Neptune and Saturn last year. And so now we can be stepping into more growth energy rather than confusion and having to wait things out. Now we can be putting more proactive energy towards defining what we want our Pisces energy to be. And with the South Node being in Virgo, we are healing our relationship with our perfectionism wounds maybe, or our inner critic, or how practical we think we have to be in our day-to-day lives. I will be publishing a very much longer video on this specific transit very soon because, again, I consider it to be very important and I love talking about it and it helps me a lot with my growth. So video will be coming soon on the North Node Pisces transit and the South Node Virgo transit. Then on March 1st of 2025, we have Venus going retrograde. Venus, I believe, only goes retrograde every 1.5 years. So whenever Venus goes retrograde, it's a time for us to reflect on our values and reflect on our values specifically in love. This is going retrograde in Aries and in Pisces. And so what this means is we are really reflecting on how I summarized it, the difference between tough love and soft love, unconditional love versus tough love. What does love mean to us? And how does this affect our values in life and our romantic lives? Again, depending on what house this is happening in for you will change how much of a romantic reassessment this is versus just a life values reassessment. But either way, Venus going retrograde in Aries, first and foremost, is asking us to reflect on how independent do we need to be in love? How assertive do we need to be in love? How bold and stimulating do we need love to be? And then when it goes retrograde into Pisces, we're asking ourselves, how unconditional can we make our love? And with this being the same sign as the North Node, there can be a lot of growth that comes around here from reflecting and reassessing our relationship with unconditional love. And is it just a state of us having no boundaries? Or is it actually true unconditional love that comes from the fact that we believe we are love? And Venus will be retrograde in Aries and in Pisces through April 12th of 2025. And then we have, of course, eclipse season, which happens twice a year. The first eclipse season will be in March of 2025. The peak of these both dates that I put on the screen, as you can see, are March 14th and March 29th. That is the day the lunar and solar eclipse peaks, but of course we're going to feel the energy of eclipse season before and after. I just wrote these dates down so that I remember what day the lunar and solar eclipse peak on. But this is an interesting axis we have for the spring eclipse season because we have a Virgo lunar eclipse and an Aries solar eclipse. And I think this is very impactful considering the fact that we've had the North Node in Aries for 1.5 years. And this is our final Aries eclipse. So we're doing one last hurrah, one last wrap up with our relationship with independence and assertion related to the growth we've done over the last 1.5 years since July of 2023. And then of course we get our first taste of what major changes may happen with the South Node Virgo transit. What is going on exactly with healing our wounds around perfectionism and criticism and practicality? We're getting our first taste of that and doing some sort of massive change. around Virgo energies during the lunar eclipse that happens on the 14th of March of 2025. To add to the mix of energies for 2025, Neptune enters Aries on March 30th of 2025. So we have quite a few planets that are shifting from Pisces energy to Aries, but yet the North Node is entering Pisces. And so it's like we've assessed, okay, this is what we want our Aries energy to be, but now we need to like let that go on the back burner and make sure we regulate it well. Whereas now we had all this chaotic energy in the year before with Pisces more so, feeling confusion, and now we're proactively trying to put clarity there. So what I mean by that, as far as the minute details of Neptune being in Aries for 2025, and of course there's more transits that go along with that. Neptune will be in Aries starting on the 30th of March, but then it goes retrograde in July 4th of 2025, and then it goes retrograde back into Pisces on the 22nd of October, and of course then it'll finally go direct on December 10th. So basically we have, for the beginning of the year, Neptune just straightforward direct in Aries, and then around halfway through the year we're going to have retrograde energy in both Aries and in Pisces for Neptune. And what this means is that we are finding a sense of idealism about our idea of independence. We set into our personal growth what we want our independence to be like, what do we want our assertion to be like, how independent we want to be. But now we may be becoming a bit idealistic with that, and then having to backtrack because Neptune retrograde brings disillusionment. We may feel a bit confusion on what we collectively agree independence should be. So you found your personal definition of that, but maybe now your collective view of how everyone should embrace independence is experiencing some backpedaling halfway through the year. And then of course it goes into Pisces as well. So this means that we may be having a bit of disillusionment or confusion about what exactly our growth is towards embracing unconditional love. I think this, in the end, this Neptune transit is really focusing our attention on how we agree people should collectively love people. How should we have tough love? How should we have soft love? This comes back similar themes to Venus retrograde in the fact that we've had the North Node in Aries, now in Pisces, and of course having, I believe it's Saturn, also in Aries and Pisces. There's a lot of Aries-Pisces combinations, and so it really does bring to light a theme around, okay, I have my personal definition of independence and my own love for myself, but how does this play out in a collective, and how is this going to change how everyone interacts with each other? So then in May 25th of 2025, we're going to have Saturn enter Aries. Again, adding more Aries energy into that mix. The simple way to put Saturn in Aries, with Saturn being the planet of responsibility and restriction, we are, now that we've defined how we want to be independent and assertive, with the North Node being in Aries in the last year and a half, we're now adding restriction to that, saying, okay, this is how we need to structure this into our lives. However, Saturn is going to go retrograde in Aries starting on July 13th. I need to move my cursor here to see what date exactly. Yeah, the 13th. Saturn goes retrograde in Aries on the 13th of July, which means then we are having to reflect on, okay, what kind of restriction and responsibility are we trying to add to our independence, and is it misaligned? Then, of course, on the 1st of September, we're going to also have Saturn go retrograde back into Pisces. So whenever we have Neptune and Saturn retrograding into Pisces, where the North Node is, we may be having to reassess how we're stepping into growth with unconditional love and compassion and empathy and introspection. And this will be retrograde until November 27th of 2025. So again, the dates will be over the screen, but overall themes with Saturn being in Aries and then going retrograde in Aries and going retrograde into Pisces. What is our relationship like? How are we holding structure to our independence? How are we holding structure with our boundaries? How are we setting energetic boundaries? And are these misaligned? On June 9th of 2025, we will have Jupiter enter Cancer. And this is a super cool one to talk about, considering we'll have Mars first retrograde in Cancer to help us reassess what kind of actions we need to take to nurture ourselves. And now that we've reassessed and taken a break, then we can seek expansion through nurturing ourselves and nurturing others. Jupiter in Cancer means that our spiritual and physical material expansion and abundance comes from following our feels, listening to others' feels, creating an emotionally supportive space for yourself and for others. And on July 7th of 2025, we will have Uranus enter Gemini. So again, another interesting energy stagger. We had Jupiter in Gemini last year, but now we're going to have Uranus in Gemini. And so what this means for us is that there can be unexpected change that in the end is serving to help us think differently around our networking, our learning, and our social interaction and curiosity. So we sought out expansion in Gemini energy last year, learning to be more curious, learning to learn, learning to socialize, learning to network. Maybe our network was expanding in a certain area of our lives. And now we may have unexpected changes occurring in this area of life for the sake of helping us learn to think differently, to innovate, to expand our mental capacity. Uranus will go retrograde in the sign of Gemini on September 6th of 2025, and then go retrograde into Taurus once again on November 7th of 2025. So we may also be reflecting on our self-worth and themes around Taurus that we had with Uranus and Taurus for the last, whatever, I don't even know, year or so, more than that probably, when that happens. September of 2025, we have our second and final eclipse season for the year. We'll have eclipses in Pisces and in Virgo, a true opposing axis. The exact dates for the lunar eclipse in Pisces will be September 7th, and the Virgo solar eclipse will be on September 21st. Of course, again, eclipse energy, eclipse season is longer than its actual peak date, so we'll feel this energy before the 7th and after the 21st. But overall, this Pisces Virgo eclipse axis is bringing major definition points and changes to our relationship with our perfectionism and practicality, and our compassion, empathy, and unconditional love and introspection. How practical are we in the material world, and is there a spiritual world? Is it all about the tasks, or is it just about doing introspective, contemplative work? Depending on the house it's happening in for you, will change kind of how this plays out and what exactly your growth is during this time. But overall, eclipse season is bringing to light this kind of energy, this difference between practicality, perfectionism, Virgo energy that's all in the material world and the routines, and Pisces, which is about the fifth dimension, unconditional love, compassion, empathy, and vibration. So this eclipse season will be giving us a next major point in, okay, what's the next step in our journey? What do I need to wrap up? Major changes, of course, happening. You know the drill with eclipse season. I will eventually have a video coming out about that when that comes around. So probably expect that video around mid-August to come out for eclipse season. And finally, one minor point to touch on for the energies of 2025, we will have Mercury go retrograde 3 times per usual in, yes, 3 fire signs, but also 2 additional water signs. So yes, it'll be going retrograde in Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, but when it goes retrograde in Aries in March, it'll also retrograde enter Pisces, which brings to light reflecting on, okay, what's my relationship like with boldly asserting myself, and how can I assert myself with compassion? How do the difference between being too aggressive and too passive? And then in Mercury retrograde happens in July of 2025. It'll just solely be in Leo. Same, I believe, as, well, not the same as last year, but it did go retrograde in 2024 in Leo as well. So maybe some old themes coming back there around your relationship with your passion and bravery. And then in November of 2025, we will have Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius and Scorpio. We do have Mercury retrograde happening as of the filming of this video on December 6th or whatever it is of 2024. So again, old themes maybe from this time going to be taking place next year in November, but also reflecting on not just our learnings and spiritual expansion and how we have to step out of our comfort zone to grow, but also our relationship with obsession and investigation and a deep emotional experience. So that is your overview into what to expect for planetary transits and astrology for 2025. My simple key takeaway is the North Node's in Pisces. We have some complicated Aries energy, and we are moving towards emotional connection and nurturance with ourselves and with others from this new state of independence and healthy attachment that we are learning. So let me know, what transits did I miss in the comments below? What are your thoughts? And if you want to learn more exactly on how these transits are going to affect you, book a reading in the link in the description below, where we can dive deep into your chart, your personality combination, and how 2025 is going to pan out for you based off of your unique birth chart, how these transits are going to affect you, and what transits, of course, are going to be most important. Because depending on your sun sign, moon sign, all of your placements, different transits are going to affect you more than others. So for example, for me, I know Venus retrograde in Aries is going to be huge, especially because it's happening on my birthday. So let me know in the comments below what questions you have, book a reading in the link in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos breaking down the stars. Let me know what transits you're most curious about, that you're hoping to see videos about, and I'll be sure to film videos on it. Once again, my name's Isabel, and from my heart to yours, namaste.